In this lecture, we are going to study the famous drama A Doll's House written by Henry Isban. Henry Isban was a great playwright and theatre director of the 19th century. We can say that he was the founder of modernism in theatre. He shifted from violent action to what is happening in people's mind in the psychology of the people. Once he said, I quote, to me, this problem has seemed the problem of humanity in general, unquote. Further, I quote, everything that I have written has the closest possible connection with what I have lived through, unquote. In this manner, we can say whatever he has written that is based on his personal experience. Whatever he experienced in the society, in his personal life, he wrote about that experience in his plays. He passed away in 1906. He wrote many plays. The first play, The Pillars of Society, was published in 1877. In 1879, A Doll's House came, and it is in our syllabus. The next play, that is Ghost, that was published in 1881. An Enemy of the People, that was published in 1882, and When We Dead Awake, that was published in 1899, and the last one, that is The Master Builder. In all his plays, he talks about the problem of the modern people. Before coming to the drama, I would like to explain three terms: feminine, feminism, and feminist. Let me say what is feminine. Feminine means having qualities or an appearance traditionally associated with women, especially delicacy and prettiness. We can say that exposing womanly qualities. Next, feminism is based on the advocacy of women's rights on the ground of equality of the sexes. This concept believes that men and women are equal. There is only biological difference, otherwise socially and politically they are equal. The third one is that is feminist writer, a writer who writes about the favors of the women, a writer who writes about the rights of the women, and a concept that examines the literary work on the basis of the female attitude. There is a famous book that The Second Sex that was published in 1949. It was written by Simone de Beauvoir. In this book, Simone de Beauvoir writes about the condition of the women in the society. She writes that the woman is socially, politically, and traditionally is neglected in the society. Women is exploited. She is not given the full rights. Okay, there is a biological difference, but she believes that the woman is not treated with equal terms all the time. She is considered the second person, not the first person. Further, she says the condition of the women in the society throughout the centuries was not good all the time. They are neglected. Now we come to the major characters of the uh, play. That there are major characters in the play. First of all, we meet Halmer. He is the husband of Nora, a newly promoted bank manager. Professes to be enamored to his wife, but their marriage stifles her. The next character we meet, that is Nora. She is the wife of Halmer. She is the mother of three children. She always lives in the state of romantic situation. She believes in certain things that if someone borrows money, if he fails to return that money, it does not matter. Halmer does not like this concept of Nora. On the other hand, we meet Dr. Rank, a rich family friend of Halmer, and he believes in certain theories that an emotional outlet to Nora. It means people say that Nora was in love with Dr. Rank. Actually, Nora was not in love with Dr. Rank. Uh, the presence of Dr. Rank was an emotional outlet to Nora. She used to say what was happening in her mind. She She wanted to share the ideas that occurred in her mind. Next, we come to Mrs. Linde. She's an old friend of Nora. She is a widow. She comes there seeking job, seeking employment, and it is said that she is the old friend of Cogastard. Cogastard is an employee at the Tornwald Banks. He's a hypocrite and he wants to cheat the people. Now we come to the summary of the play. In what manner the story takes place. There are major characters. Major characters are introduced in the beginning. Torvald is there, Nora, Dr. Rank, Mrs. Linde, and Cogster. All the major characters are introduced, and there is a preparation of Christmas festival that is taking place. Nora is busy in the household activities. Halmer calls her a chirping bird and a whisking bear, and she is busy in the New Year preparation. The play opens at Christmas time as Nora Halmer enters home carrying many packages. Nora's husband is working in his study room when she arrives. He playfully rebukes her for spending so much money on Christmas gifts, calling her his little squirrel. It teaches her about how the previous year she had spent weeks making gifts and ornaments by hand because money was scarce. This year, Todwell is due a promotion at the bank where he works, so Nora feels that they can let themselves go a little. The maid announces there are two visitors, namely Mrs. Linde, an old friend of Nora who has come for seeking employment, and the other person is Dr. Rank, a close friend of the family who is let into the study room. Mrs. Linde had a difficult few years. She was without husband, she was without money, she was without children. Nora says that things have not been easy for them either. Nora informs her that Tormund became ill and they had to go to Italy. There, she has to arrange money. She signed the bond. She signed on the bond, and that was a mistake from Nora's side that she put the wrong date. Krishna Linde also explained that when her mother passed away, she had to take care of her brother. But now that they are on this, she feels her life is unspeakably empty. Unspeakably empty, Mrs. Linde feels that her life is totally empty. She does not know where to. There is no such person to whom she can depend on. Nora promises to talk to Torvald about finding a job. Uh, Further, Linde tells Nora that she's like a child. Nora is offended. So she teases the idea that she got money from some admirer so they could travel to Italy to improve Torvald's health. She told Torvald that her father gave the money, but in fact she managed to illegally borrow it without his knowledge, without the knowledge of the husband. That was a mistake from the side of Nora. Women could not do anything without the permission of the husband, but Nora did that thing. She takes money without the permission of the husband. Meanwhile, Cogster arrives there, goes into the study room. Nora is clearly uneasy when she sees Cogster. Dr. Rank leaves the study room, mentions that he feels wretched, though likes everything, he wants to go on living. In contrast to his physical illness, he says that the man is in the study room, Cogast is morally diseased person. It means Dr. Rank also does not like Cogster. After the meeting with Cogster, Torvald comes out of the study. Nora asks him if he can give Christian a position in the bank. Torvald promises to give a position in the bank to Mrs. Linde. Dr. Rank leaves the house. Linde leaves the house, and Nora is there. The servant comes there, and Cogster creeps through the door into the living room where Nora was sitting. It surprises Nora. Cogster tells Nora that Torvald is intended to replace him by Mrs. Linde. Nora says that it is possible. Auguste leaves the room and Nora tries to convince him not to fire Auguste, not to remove Auguste from the bank position. And uh, Torvald refuses to hear her pleas, explaining that Auguste is a liar, a hypocrite, and years before he had committed a crime, he forged other people's signature. In this manner, we come to know that Auguste was not a good person. Now, Auguste is the person from whom Nora borrowed money. Now, there are many other things in the story. Then Nora plays the game of hide and seek with the children. This game symbolizes a sort of hide and seek with Custard. In what manner Nora tries to hide herself from the presence of Custard. Now, one thing is also there. Nora cherishes a dream. What was the dream? Said that she does not open the secret of borrowing money. She was hopeful that one day she would get a chance and she would explain all the situation to Halmer in what manner she got the money, in what manner she arranged the money. And in this manner, we see come to know that Auguste threatens her to blackmail if she does not support him in the bank. On the other hand, Torvald also feels that he's the person, August is the person who tried to poison his own children with lies and dissimulations. In this manner, we come to know in the first act, the situation is laid down between husband and wife. Now, second act opens. In this manner, the Dr. Rank is there, and it is clear Nora is not in love with him, but loves him dearly as a friend. As a friend, the presence of Dr. Rank is an emotional outlet to Nora. Nora shares the internal things to Dr. Rank. It means that she considers him as a friend. People think that he is a lover. No, he's not a lover. He's just simply a friend to whom she can share the inner things of the family. On the other hand, we come to know that Auguste informs Nora that he has written a letter detailing her crime, that she has forged the signature of Papa, and Auguste has put that letter into the letter box. Situation is very tense. Nora dances, Tarantella dances badly. And here the dance symbolizes how the Nora is suffering in the state of desperation, in the state of inner friendship. At the time of night, Halmer goes there, opens the letter box. As and when he opens the letter box and he reads letter one by one, he reads the letter of Auguste. He comes to know the reality, and for the first time, husband and wife are face to face. Nora tries to commit suicide. Halmer stops her and see the picture in what manner Halmer raises the finger and tells some situation to Nora that she's a criminal, that she's a hypocrite. Halmer further says that she has ruined his position in the bank, and he thinks that he would not be able to say the position, that he would be treated that he was the part and parcel in the decision of his wife. That's why Halmer feels irritated. On the other hand, Nora feels that her husband is not the person, is not that strong person she thought he was. She realizes that Halmer is the person who loves himself more than he loves Nora. It shows that Halmer has certain principle about his life. He thinks that Nora is his possession. That's why he does not support the ideas of Nora. Nora feels betrayed, that in what manner she has been cheated by the husband. She was hopeful that one day when her husband would come to know the reality, would come forward, would say that whatever she has done for the husband, but it does not happen. The miracle does not happen. Nora feels irritated. That's why she decides to leave the house of Halma. The situation is very typical. Nora is disturbed. She speaks, I quote, "We must come to a final settlement or world. During 8 years, we have never exchanged one serious word about serious things," unquote. This very statement of Nora shows that they were living together as a husband and wife. They failed to exchange their views for each other. They could not share their ideas for each other. They could not communicate their feelings to each other. That is why Nora invites Halmer for the final settlement of saying goodbye to Halmer. Nora also claims that she was a doll child in the house of father. She was treated as a doll child by her father. She could not think otherwise in the house of Papa. The same doll had been handed over to Halmer. She could not think otherwise. Nora says that Halmer adapted the taste and Nora followed those tastes. It means she was only a carbon copy of Halmer. She could not make of her own ideas. She could not develop her own personality in the house of husband. And in the last, Halmer proposes her that whether they can live as brother and sister. Nora refuses to live as brother and sister. She claims that she wants to learn herself. She wants to educate herself. She wants to stand alone in the male-dominated society. That is wonderful thing, that in what manner she is going to adjust herself in this male-dominated society. Halmer proposes to stay there. In the last, Nora returns her wedding ring. At this, I quote, "The most wonderful thing of all happens." Nora goes. Nora leaves the house of Halmer. Halmer is left alone and he does not think what to do. Next, we come to about the theme of the drama. What is the subject matter of the drama? First of all, the theme of the drama is home. In the society, we see that a woman is without home. Earlier, she lives in the house of the father. Then she is handed over in the house of the husband. She feels that she is without home. All the time she suffers that she is without love in the house of husband. She's in a situation of typical thinking that where she should go. After marriage, a woman cannot go back to her father's house. She's always in search of a home where she can find love and respect. Nora fails to get respect and love in the house of husband. Husband thinks that she's a property. She's a possession. That's why Halmer forces her to follow her duties as a mother, as a wife. Nora refuses. She wants to search herself. She wants to stand herself with her own thinking, with her own ideas. The next theme of the play is that is the husband and wife relations. Husband and wife relations are based on mutual understanding and trust. In the first act, we see Nora is busy in her traditional duties. She's a perfect housewife doing all the duties that are assigned to a wife. She is busy in the Christmas preparation. She is busy with the child care. She does the extra work of copying for paying the loan, for paying the installments of the loan. She borrows the money for the sake of the husband. But we come to know that in the last, Nora is considered only like a plaything. She is reduced to the level of home comfort, not more than a home comfort. She is reduced to the position of an item and a property, not a human being. The third important theme of the play, that is doll personality. Yes. The title of the play also suggests that a doll's house. Who is doll? Nora is doll. Generally, we see a doll is without thinking, without ideas. A person makes the doll to do this thing. She does the same thing. She's without any idea, without personality. That's why Nora complains. I quote, I have been greatly wronged to our world, first by father, then by you, unquote. Nora says, in the house of father, she could not think otherwise. She has to follow the ideas of the Papa. She was the follower of Papa. She could not develop her own personality. Nora further complains, I quote, you arranged everything to your taste and acquired the same taste, unquote. Nora comes in the house of the husband. Nora says that she arranged everything whatever her husband wanted. She acquired the taste of the husband. She followed the ideas of the husband. She could not develop her own ideas. She could not develop her own thinking. She was only a doll child. She was only a doll wife in the house of husband. All the time she says that she was begging for this thing or that thing. She was like a beggar in the house of husband. Nora complains. Now, next theme of the play, that is religion. Religion. Religion teaches moral lesson. The canons of the religion are decided by the male-dominated society. And the last, in the third act, we see Halma reminds Nora that she has to fulfill her duty as a wife and as a mother. Nora refuses to follow these duties. She rejects religion, that religion does not fulfill her ambition, religion does not support her respect. That's why she refuses to follow the principles of the religion. The next theme of the play, that is education. Whose education? Nora's education, or Halmer's education, or children's education? Actually, education is a process of learning. Nora tries to learn herself that what is her position in the society, that what is her position in the family, and she cries that she wants to learn herself. She wants to stand alone in the society. The last thing which I want to discuss, that is heredity. In the beginning of the play, we see Halmer calls I spent thief. And he charges Nora that she has borrowed this habit from her father, that she has inherited this habit from her father. At this, Nora replied that she is proud in following the habit of Papa. In this manner, we say that the theme of the play is home, husband, wife relations, doll personality, and other things. On the last, we come to about the importance of the third act. Third act is very important. In the first act, the problem is introduced. In the second act, the situation becomes tense. The relation between husband and wife becomes tense. Reader wants some relief to Halmer and Nora. And in the third act, we see in what manner Nora tries to challenge the authorities, or tries to challenge the husband Halmer. She tried to challenge society. She tried to challenge religion. But when the third act opens, we see in what manner Torvald cries. He says, I quote, wretched women, what you have done, unquote. He abuses Nora. Halmer was confident that Nora would not do anything without his permission. But when Halmer comes to know that she has borrowed money without his permission, at this he abuses Nora and calls her a wretched woman. Torvald further repents, I quote, she was his pride, his joy. A matter of pride to Halmer, a matter of joy to Halmer. But later on, he thinks that Nora is a hypocrite, a liar. He says that she is worse than a criminal. In the eyes of Halmer, the position of Nora is reduced. Now she becomes a criminal. The third act is also important when Nora realizes that she was a doll child to her father. She was a doll wife to husband, and in the last she comes to know her position in the society. She realizes that there are certain duties towards herself. There is reawakening of Nora. She wants to educate herself, wants to learn herself, wants to stand alone. When Halmer proposes that whether they can live brother and sister, Nora refuses to live as brother and sister. And further, Halmer proposes that whether she could send gifts, and Nora refuses to accept gifts. She says that she does not accept gifts from a stranger. Halmer becomes a stranger. Husband becomes a stranger. See in what manner the situation takes turn. In the last, we come to know that whatever Halmer used to think that Nora is his property, that is his possession, that goes out from his grip, that goes out from his hand, and a new Nora is born, a new Nora is awakened, and in this manner we see that the play justify the importance of the third act. Now we can discuss about the title of the drama, A Doll's House. A doll's house. House is there and doll is there. Generally it is said that house is a place which is made of stones and home is a place which is made of hearts. Hearts, feelings, love, respect for each other. And in the beginning, we come to know that Nora is a doll wife to Halmer. She follows him blindly. She does whatever Halmer wants. Nora also complains that she was a doll child to her father. In the house of father, she could not make of her own thinking. She could not come out of her inner self. That was the doll image of Nora. We can also say that Halmer was also a doll to his principles. Halmer believed that one person should not borrow money. And he also believed that if the mother is dishonest, the germs of dishonesty would infect the children. In this manner, Halmer was also a doll to his ideas. In the last, we come to know in what manner Nora comes out of her doll image. She rejects her doll image. We can say that she is a tragic heroine. There is rise and fall in the character of Nora. Nora complains that she has been treated like a doll, first by father, then by her husband. Halmer reminds her duties as mother, as in wife. Nora replied that she cannot be a good mother or a wife without learning. The important question arises. She wants to learn. She wants to stand alone. That was a new beginning of Nora. That was a new beginning of the character Nora. In this manner, we can justify the title of the play. Thanks.